Hey folks, Kayla here. Just wrapped up a little bit of a beach mid-morning, early afternoon. It's noon now, so I'm in Manzanillo, which I think I said in another one of my videos, but I hope I can go the direction I'm wanting to go here on these roads. Anyway, I wanted to share a little bit about doing all of this alone, like, you know, this solo travel idea. And I'm starting to understand more and more how what I've done is extraordinary. I didn't set out to do it because it's extraordinary. I genuinely was trying to escape the United States. I had posted something on Facebook that was a dissent opinion and looped in Antifa, and I took it down. And so at that point I was like, okay, this is not the country I fought for, and now I'm not a war veteran, and I am a veteran, but I was an aircraft mechanic, so I didn't go into like war zones in that way. I did serve 8 years in the Air Force. Today is Memorial Day, so of course those folks they're on our hearts and minds, and it seems even more considering, I mean, don't get me started. Okay. Whew. So, interesting being at the beach on Memorial Day here. There was like one other little group, like 4 people. I think they were tourists, and then 2 look more like locals a little ways down from me. But of course, Memorial Day in the States, this place would be packed. And I'm there alone, like very much alone. And I put on my headphones and had a couple beers and enjoyed myself. I don't, sometimes, yes, I miss well, I don't know. I've never really had super long-term companionship. Like the longest I've been in relationships steady is like 2 years. Even that could probably be considered off and on. But, you know, like I don't really tolerate people in my space for very long. I'm very particular. I also, it's beyond that. Like it was survival mechanisms from early days. Like just trying to make it to where I could feel safe and function. Hold on, I gotta put something in my mouth. Oh, there is a turtle. This is Turtle Crossing, and there's a big turtle. Oh, little guy, I'm so glad I saw him. So I'm headed back to La Serena restaurant. I had the red snapper there, but I heard they had great burgers. So, and they're from Argentina, so we gotta go check this out. Anyway, so back to what I was talking about, doing this alone. I don't tolerate people in my space very well. It maybe, well, like I was saying, a lot of it's survival, or a lot of it's preference, but most of it is survival. Where I grew up, I was bullied at home, I was bullied at school. Oftentimes the only safe place for me was the school bus, and I know people have had it worse, but it does create in me this resistance to other people. And then I was kind of forced to figure out how to do shit on my own because I felt like I couldn't count on people, or that they would end up trying to take advantage. So like, I don't like owing people. I don't like, you know, favors that I can't reciprocate on. I love to be generous. That shit flowing that way is great for me, like, or stuff. It's not shit. My generosity flowing that way is, I love it. If it's coming back the other way, I have a little bit of hard time trusting it sometimes. So there's a survival mechanism where I've not felt safe around people most of my life. And that includes dealing with men, right? Where they want to consume rather than actually like get to know. And then of course, father and mother wounds, where you're seeking out a partner that replays the roles, or puts you back in the role that you had as a child, so that feels like home. For better or worse, this is usually what we do before we know better. and it leads to toxic situations. And again, until we know better. Once we know better, we can make better choices. I always say with my clients, that's aligned with making choices that honor ourselves. Anyway, so going to the beach the way that I did today, I get it. There are moments where it's like, this would be nice to share with somebody. I definitely feel that. I did have a phenomenal encounter with someone I've referred to as Tarzan a couple times here, and he was wonderful and showed me so many different things that I'm genuinely in awe of the man. I spent a few days there, which was fine, but then I usually need a break. So for me to like travel with somebody, or like I'm tired of considering everybody else. I'm tired of, and this person was great. He was very good with the flow. He didn't, and I was kind of running the show because I'm the tourist there as far as, it's short term, and then I'm out of here and there's certain things I want to see and do, but he just didn't care. He wanted to make me happy and like, hey, I want to go do this. Cool, let's go do this. And help me find the best situation if he didn't already know the best situation. Very easy to be with. But even still, after a couple days, I need a break. It's just inevitable. So I've also had experiences where, like my second husband, we didn't do our honeymoon until a little bit later, and we went to the Bahamas, and I found us what would have been considered an Airbnb then, but it wasn't an Airbnb at the time. That wasn't a thing yet. That tells you anything? I mean, maybe, but not to the extent that I don't think it was anyway. So we get there, and the woman who picked us up from the airport drove us to her place where we were staying, and it actually was really nice. But she brought up, because my husband at the time had one of those longer wallets. He was a country boy, and so the kind that sticks out of the back pocket, and she mentioned that you may want to do something else just because of the petty theft around here. This caused him to, and a lot of times I don't know that I would diagnose him covert narcissist or anything like that. Like, maybe he's definitely got some of the tendencies, but I still hold out hope for him. But this essentially caused him to lose his mind, and he doesn't lose his mind externally. It's all internal. He was a firefighter, and that's just what they did, right? So he's just not having a good time at all on this trip, and it's beautiful, and I'm trying to, make it better, because now I'm kind of being punished, and I'm trying to find a different place to stay that makes him feel safer. We went out one night to a reggae bar. Okay. He went to the restroom, and a guy came and was kind of flirting with me. It seemed a bit like a local. I can't really remember. But when my ex got back, my second husband, I call him my ex, it was ages ago. My second husband got back. He was irritated that there was a man there, but the man said to him, "You have a very faithful and beautiful wife. She was waiting here patiently for you, and speaks highly of you," and those types of things. And dude stayed mad. Like, he shifted the energy so bad that we were there a little bit early, because at the time I was, freshly out of the military, so I might have still been in the military at that time. So early morning, same thing for him. Early mornings was just, so we kind of went to bed early. So we were at this live music situation a little early, and that's fine, but he has the kind of energy similar. Mine can be this way too, where if you're mad, the whole thing goes, like, everybody can feel it. And that's where he was at, and of course got me there very quickly. And so much so that the singer commented on the energy being down and hard to recover, essentially because people came out early and now are in a bad mood. Like, it was so palpable that we get called out. So anyway, shit like that is why traveling solo for me is fine. I get to do what I want, go where I want, leave when I want. I can make plans and then not do them. So what made me think of this was having my headphones on at the beach. I really love music, and something about headphones, I'm sure you've experienced, it's way more intimate than surrounding music. And even though I had this really incredibly beautiful romantic scenario play out with Tarzan, I mean, guys, if I even told you, I'm ready to write a romance novel. Anyway, even though that was beautiful, I still at that time kept jumping in my head like, oh, we need to go do, and we, so I'm still trying to kind of manage it a little bit, but it's still beautiful. I would do it again and hopefully get less and be less in my head about certain things. But here in this situation, I'm totally free. Do I want more of the romantic situation? Sure. And that was extremely romantic. And could I create romance at where I just was? Yeah, absolutely. But it comes like if I had to consistently worry about somebody else, the romance would be gone. And when you have access to something consistently, the romance is gone. So the situation that I had last weekend was precious because it was rare and I was leaving. And so that removes all this pressure. It's fleeting. You can lean into it in different ways. If we were a couple traveling together, it's like, I say this all the time when I used to work on the C5. The C5 aircraft is the size of a football field. It's fucking huge. And the first time that you see it fly, you're like, is it gonna make it? But it ends up where you get used to it, where you're not in awe, where you roll up on it every single day. It's this big, and the bread truck you pulled up in is this big, and you still just, yeah, it's cool, but similar to here, I don't ever want to lose awe of this place. Possibility, because when you have free access to something, it loses its precious quality. So would all of that have been nearly as romantic if it weren't fleeting? Probably not. Maybe. I mean, it was pretty fucking great, but it would have been different. So the situation that I was just in, I got to access some awe in nature and be in my headphones with awesome music, and it's an empty beach, so I felt free to dance and play with the dogs, and just had a wonderful time by myself, very literally. There's nobody else around. And I'm thinking I need to talk on this because had there been someone there, I would have felt guilty for having my headphones on. I mean, you can't do that, right? Just even that part of it would have been taken away. I'm not gonna hang out in my headphones when I'm somewhere with somebody. Maybe I create a situation in the future where that's a normal thing, because like I said, I like that intimacy of music. But then I would want them to experience it with me too. Like, you've got to get headsets and be listening to the exact same thing that I am so that we can have the same experience. And that's just not, it's ridiculous. It's not gonna happen. So maybe, but not in the way that my head has manufactured it. So that's something else we have to be careful of when we think about, oh, you're doing this alone. Well, sure, but the idea of doing it with someone else almost never goes the way that you think it's going to go. And if nothing else, like, my personal experience has been that it can go sideways so easily. And the emotional codependence there around, well, I want them to be having a good time, and are they, and do I need to do something different, and on and on and on, to where I can just go and be present. And maybe I find a person that I end up with whom I can be present that same way, like, and I'm holding space for that. But until then, I'm going to go and do and not wait. Number one, I'd have to wait for somebody not only to want to do what I'm doing, but to be available. I have immense gratitude for the situation I'm in that allows me to do this, and it's not all that common. So I think we can make it more common, but we gotta make it happen. And that's kind of a privileged thing to say, but I think that, and we could in more ways than we do. More on that later, maybe. But then I would have to rely on them as a human, which is going to be deeply flawed and have emotional experiences of their own and preferences and all of that I have to compromise with. And in some situations, that I hope is going to be easier than not only others, but the ones I've personally experienced. So anyway, yes, I am driving around in my bathing suit. Like, really, I needed to dry off before I put my top back on to go get some lunch, this burger that I'm excited about. But that feels like a really fucking natural thing to do here, is to just simply, literally drive your car in a string bikini. I didn't even do that really. I don't think I would have done that in Mexico. Maybe once I like lived there more, or if I was in my car more. I wasn't in my car often. But here, and just being barefoot is a normal thing. Having your dogs with you is a normal thing. Anyway, so I wanted to share, like I said, about doing this stuff solo. I know people wonder, and I hear a lot with my clients that, oh, I could never go do that by myself. And I would encourage you to just go fucking do it, guys. Like, I thought about this the other day. I started doing this when I moved to San Antonio, which would have been 2004 to 6, sometime around there. And I didn't know anybody. And I want, at the time, Olive Garden, oh, beautiful people. At the time, Olive Garden had a Parmesan crusted tilapia. And so I would take myself to go get that. And that was when Olive Garden was still decent. And I would bring a book. And then I also started going to Ruth's Chris bar. Like, I was so bold. This was 20 something years ago. So I'm like in my mid 20s. And I would go sit at their bar and drink and some whiskey and read. I don't tend to drink much, and I also have a monster tolerance, so except for mezcal can do it to me. So it's not like I'm going and getting plastered. I don't like to be drunk. I like to maintain control, and I pace myself very well with food and all of that. But just going to get out of the house, just going to go and do, not waiting for someone else to be available so that you can go do something. I've had clients in the past where they didn't go to the grocery store without somebody else, and that is so limiting. So I'm not saying that solo travel is for everybody, but I do say that the ability to be alone is a superpower. Whether that means you travel all over the world alone, or you're just going to breakfast alone. The breakfast is a great place to start. The coffee is a great place to start. The beer is a great place to start. But when you start to do that, my favorite quote is from the Buddha, and it's attributed to the Buddha, and it says, "Worry not what will become of you. Cease needing the help of all others. Only then are we truly free." And that doesn't mean, oh, you never need someone's help to move, or you want to be antisocial. It's not that at all. It's that you don't need something external to you in order to feel whole and complete. And I would say that I'm not quite there, because I am doing all this traveling to find home. So that's an external, right? But I'm also not enlightened. But I have significantly reduced my dependency on other people. And I'm trying to come back from that in a way that I create connections, and I'm getting much better at that, much more open. But it also helps to not be planted somewhere. Maybe that's going to have a different flavor to it. But essentially, that frees me to go and do that. I can go and live my life. And so with the headphones on, the beach was a totally different experience. Would it have been maybe a beautiful experience if there was somebody there, specifically romantically speaking? Yeah. But I also would have been it would have been different. So we need to stop looking at this as a deficit and understand that a quality partner or even friend who can travel with you and do these things with you, that is rare, beautiful, and should be celebrated. But we don't want to depend on having that be the case before we make our moves. Okay, long-winded today. It's fine, right? I'll see y'all soon.